Hello, thank you for joining us for part 3 of the Crosman 2300T series. I hope everyone's well out there. Obviously, we're filming this in the summer of 2020, and there's still a lot of challenges here in the U.S., and best wishes to everyone out there, and thank you for joining us. Looking at this pistol, we wanted to talk about accuracy and final conclusions. As most of you remember, this is a CO2 target pistol in .177 caliber, made by Crosman, uses the 12-gram CO2 cartridges, comes with the adjustable sights and an adjustable trigger weight and trigger stop. We've been shooting this now for a while, and when it came into us, to be honest, it didn't shoot quite as well as I expected. And I'm really happy to say this at this point, it shoots incredibly well, much better than I can actually shoot it. Now, there are a couple of things we've done to help that happen. Part of it would have happened naturally after a break-in, potentially, but part of it we helped along too. Now, when this came in here, looking at 28 shots fired over a chronograph using a Diabolo basic wide cutter that's made by RWS. It's a 7-gram pellet or 7-grain pellet. When we would shoot them, we would see a high of 491.2 and a low of 454.1. Gave us a standard deviation of about 10.4 feet per second and an average velocity of 470.6. Not bad, but not quite as good as I had expected. As you may remember, we did take the pistol apart in the earlier episodes. One of the things I did just while we were in there was to go ahead and replace the factory bolt with a custom bolt from Mountain Air. Don't know how much of the difference that made. While I was in there, I also went ahead and polished up some rust spots on the hammer and made things travel a little more smoothly. I do think that may have been some of where we were seeing the variance. When we got done with those two things, we came out and are shooting right now at an average of 469 feet per second, high of 476.4, low of 461, and that gave us a standard deviation of 4.78 feet per second, only 15.4 foot per second extreme spread. So, this thing's shooting very consistently. As I said earlier, it's actually shooting much better than I'm able to shoot it. I'm no bullseye shooter. One of the areas, however, that I struggled with was the front sight on this pistol. And we'll talk about that a little more when we go ahead and go over the pros and cons section. But wanted to share some of the chronograph data. Also will include some target shooting from 10 yards. Like I say, I'm not a bullseye shooter, but was very pleased in the end with how the pistol was performing. One of the things, like I say, that I had struggled with, and I know others have from reviews I've seen and read, is the width of this front sight. When you put it on a 10-inch barrel, it's awful narrow. So one of the things I've done is modified and made a new front sight where I just took a small circle of brass that I made from brass rod and fixed it onto the standard sight blade. I shoot much better when I have this on. It fills up a lot more of the sight picture. I've taken some pictures that I will go ahead and share with you, so you can take a look at both. But I found this to be a really helpful modification. If I take my time, I can manage the narrow blade well if visibility is perfect. This helps me do well in varying light, and it makes me much faster. That other blade is a challenge for me to hold while I shoot. So anyway, go ahead and take a look at the footage. I think a lot of people will be like me, and if you have a bit wider front sight, you may do a bit better with this pistol.